It is so hard for me to think about fall when I have this beautiful tomato plant all laden with green fruit in front of me. But I want food later in the season. I gotta think about the fall.
Hi, my name is Rick and welcome to my Cape Cod life. And today I'm part of a collaboration with Mayfield Ranch. Cady over there has suggested we get together and talk about fall gardening. So, hashtag fall garden plan.
So here I'm Cape Cod in Massachusetts. I'm in zone 7A. I have about 184 growing days. And my expected first frost is around October 24th. So as of today, that gives me about 66 frost-free days to grow stuff. So when thinking about the fall garden, we're thinking about a couple of different things. First off, we have our frost tender crops and we have our frost tolerant crops or frost hardy crops. So let's talk about the frost tender ones and what I'll be growing this fall. Let's talk about beans being one of the frost tender crops. Now, to my way of thinking, my pole beans, even though they're really a summer crop, they're going to keep producing until they're hit by frost. As long as I don't have any pests or other problems with them, they'll be fine. So this trellis here is where I have my pole beans. There's a nice rattlesnake bean right here. And yeah, so these are all going to keep producing until they hit from the frost. And a couple of weeks ago, I planted some dragon tongue beans, so they'll be ready for my fall garden. So let's go look at some of that. Planted them where the garlic grew, so say they're two and a half weeks old, and I should get some good crops out of these guys here. So here's that. Cucumbers can be also in your fall garden. I was kind of trying to do that myself, but I had really spotty germination. I'll get a few of them on there. Let's take a little peek at those. I have a few vines here and over there. They're starting to bloom. I see little cucumbers. We'll see what we get out of them. These are already having some issues over here, but we'll take care of that, hopefully with a little more fertilizer. So cucumbers. And then there's summer squash, and you can have that in your fall garden as well. I have planted some patty pan squash, so I am hoping that I get some harvest out of those as well. I'm gonna plant some summer squash. Now this one's a risk. If I get it, it should have about 2.5–3 weeks of harvest before a possible frost. But if it comes early, it's toast. But you know what? Worst case scenario, chicken food. I'll just throw it to them. And the good thing about planting summer squash in your fall garden is there's a lot less pest pressure than in your summer garden. So something to consider. Basil is another herb, and it's a frost tender herb that you can be growing right up to the first frost. So I have more basil going on in my garden as well. Another thing you can plant in your fall garden are tomatoes. Now, you'd probably want a nice quick producing variety like a Roma or a 42-day tomato. What I did is I had a sucker. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to show you this. So let me flip it around. Here's a 42-day tomato. Prune that back. And it's given most of its fruit. It's still producing some, so I'll leave it be. But I planted an old German cutting from tomato plant right over there. And I rooted that about a month ago, and it's doing pretty good. So I'm hoping that it'll produce some tomatoes when this one dies down. So let's talk about the cold tolerant plants. Let's start with brassicas. So in brassicas we can have cabbage, kale, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, collards, all of those are brassicas. I am hoping to get some starts. Now I should have started mine like a month ago and I just didn't get around to it, gotta be honest. There are a couple of places locally that I can buy some starts, so I'll do that. And I'm hoping to get, I don't know what I want to grow. I'm gonna see what they have. Now then we have
or what I like to call is the Asian brassicas. So I love bok choy and pak choy and tatsoi and all those Asian greens. And I also grew the spring chow sum, which is like a Chinese broccoli, very delicious. So I'm gonna grow those. And the good thing about those is I should be able to succession grow those, because a lot of them are like 25, 30, 40 days on those. So they're a quick turnover. And if I play my cards right, I'll be eating a lot of that this fall. My fall garden have lettuce and spinach. I love greens, I love salads, so it's a great thing for me to have. I already have some Swiss chard that I planted this spring in my green stalk, and I had since transplanted into the garden. That should be enough for me through the fall. Last year I actually put it in a low tunnel and I ate it into early winter, and hopefully I do it again. So back to the lettuce and spinach. I'm gonna grow heads, and I'm hoping to do some cut and come again greens, which I'll also put in my green stock. I'm gonna replace the scraggly bean plants that are there with.
So I tried to plant beans after the spring greens were done, and they struggled.
Lettuces and spinaches, and I'll plant some more chard in that thing too. That'd be great. As for the head lettuces, I can plant those here and there throughout the garden, and I'll put some where I expect I'll have my low tunnels later in the season as well, so that'll be awesome. Also for fall garden, I'll be doing some root crops. First, I'll be doing beets. I love beets. So gold beets are mostly what I have, but I do have some early wonder tall top beets as well. So beets give you those delicious greens, and then you have the root itself, the beetroot, which is delicious on its own. In addition to the beets, there's radishes, and I love radishes. My favorite is the white icicle radish. I'll be growing that one. I'll be growing some French breakfast radishes, as well as scarlet globe radishes. And I also believe I have white hailstone radishes. I think I have a few other varieties. So I'll throw bunches of those, and I'll succession plant. Last year I was able to eat radishes on Christmas and New Year's Day because I had a bit of low tunnel. So the thing about the fall garden radishes, they are so sweet and crunchy and even juicy. I mean, they're great. They're very mild. They're not as peppery as they are in late spring. So I encourage you to try growing some fall radishes. Another one of my favorite things for the fall garden is snow peas. My favorite garden snack are snow peas. So this year I'm going to be growing Oregon Giant, and let's check this out.
Over here I have a container with really rickety sort of trellis, but it works for what I want to plant here, which is snow peas. I love snow peas. They have a 60-day growing time, so, and they are frost tolerant. We'll be fine with those.
But I have an empty grow bag here, and I am planting some more snow peas. These are Oregon Giant. Giant Oregon, what are they? Oregon Giant snow peas, same ones I planted earlier from Fedco. All right, we get them all covered and watered in.
So I have this black strawberry tomato plant, and it has like, I don't know, 5 trusses of tomatoes left, so it's on its way out. I'm gonna plant some more snow peas here as well.
Also for the fall garden, I like herbs. So I just started planting cilantro and dill, and those are things that I can succession plant as well. And I'll be concentrating on using those for herbs as opposed to letting them go to seed.
So the other thing I like to do with my herbs is dry them. And this is some beautiful rosemary here. So I am gonna harvest these down to about here and dry that out. And then by late fall, I should have it restored up to about here again, and I'll have a lot more. Excuse the chickens.
I have my thoughts and plans for a fall garden this year. What are yours? I'm really interested. Please write your ideas down in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all those things. Special shout out to Cady at Mayfield Ranch. Thank you, Cady. This has been a fun collaboration. I can't wait to compare notes with all other gardeners from around the country and the world. So thank you for that. And my friends, as always, my Cape Cod life.